Hi everyone, this is Miss Wilson, and on this video, I am going to share with you the basics of MLA and APA citation, especially for multimedia sources. And so what I've done, this was done a year ago for a previous class, I have found that some students find it helpful to have a list form of items you need to be looking for. So I focus on the layout, like on the Purdue OWL, of how the actual citation is supposed to look on the page. But sometimes making a list, a numbered list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you want to do that in a journal or a notebook somewhere, that helps a lot of students to just have a checklist of everything you need to make sure you keep track of whenever you're citing sources. So remember that our basics of MLA, we always want, number 1 is the author's last name and first name. Number 2 is the title of the article. Notice I put highlights here to show you punctuation. So there's a highlight there. You put a period at the end of the first item there. You put quote marks around the title of whatever the article is. You put the period on the inside. The name of the source, notice that that is in italics. Italics is the slanty letters. Sometimes, and so I've got this little exclamation point here. Notice I've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5. This is just a reminder. You don't always need these other things, but if it's an academic source especially, you might need some of this extra stuff, such as the publisher, the volume number, the issue number, etc. So if it's an academic source from an academic journal, you might want to add these other things. Okay, that actually, I shouldn't say might, like you do need to look for these other things to include in your citation, and they would go in there in this order. But assuming that it's not academic, it's just a general source from a website or from a newspaper or something, you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So we would go then to the day and month and year. Then we do it literally like that, like day space, month space, year. So 12 space, January space, 2016 or whatever. Then we would do the full URL, www dot whatever. There's a ruling on MLA about whether or not we need the HTTPS // in front of the www, and they have ruled that you do not. So if you want to leave the HTTPS part of it off, that's what the official textbook guidance is. However, I don't really feel that any professor is going to care. As long as you provide me a link that's going to get me to the website, that's the main purpose of it, okay? So with English 101, we focus on the basics. I'm not worried so much about every single item being absolutely perfect to a T. APA basic, here's our basics. Author last name and then first initial, okay? If it is a multimedia source, you're going to put the word director or artist or musician or writer or something out beside it, photographer, to let me know that that person is something other than the author. If it's just an author and it's a written work, you don't have to tell me anything. You could just literally have, we could cut this last part off. You would just have author's last name and first initial, and that's it, okay? Then you would do the year, comma, month, and day. So it would be 2016, comma, January 12th or whatever it is. They put a little different order there on the month and day. I highlighted the fact that you would have a comma here now, and then we also have a parentheses with the period on the outside of the parentheses. Title of the visual, notice that APA likes lowercasing, so we would lowercase pretty much everything except for that first letter. Regular font here too. Notice I highlighted something, comic strip. I've got brackets around it and I put a period on the outside, whatever it is. If it's a cartoon, if it is a TV series, if it is a sculpture, if it is a photograph or an image or a video or a music video or a song, whatever it is, if it's something different other than just an article in writing, something different, you put the little brackets there to tell me what it is. And that way, when I go to this website or whatever, I'm not looking for an article to read. I'm looking for an image, or I'm looking for a sculpture, or I'm looking for a video. I know what it is, what the item is. Okay, so this is an example of labeling as a comic strip or labeling it as something else. Okay, then you go with name of the source. Notice this is italicized also, the little slanty letters. The name of the source actually still keeps regular capitalization with APA. It's the title that they want you to go with the lowercasing on in general. Then remember my little reminder of the exclamation points here, all these extra things. So publisher, volume, and issue number, etc., that you might still need. Remember, if it's an academic source, we do need those things. In general, though, you won't. And remember also with APA style that when we present those, you would have an actual number. So 12 parentheses 4, volume number 12, issue 4, 96 through 102, like a range of page numbers or something. It would look like that as an example. Okay, I'm going to delete this now, but that's what it would look like. APA, you don't have to label it volume number blank, issue blank. You don't have to put the words in front of it. I just know based on the order and the format that this is what those numbers are. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. And then we go with retrieved from and our full URL. And again, they've made a ruling that you can drop the HTTPS part at the beginning and just start with the www. I really feel like all of your professors are okay if you just give us a link that we can click on and use. APA in the older way, there's kind of a weird rule there of, in some cases, you can use just www.amazon.com and the main homepage source, and then include like a keyword of how to get to the rest. I would say don't mess with any of those fine-tuning types of rules. Just give the professor the URL. That's the main thing we need in order to look up the work that you did. So here's an example, and this is an example. So Gail, Sarah Pfister, cultural stereotypes, University of Chicago. I went ahead and included the publisher here. 23rd of October 2018, www.uchicago. I know that this automatically is an MLA style, right? Because I see the spelled out name of the author. I see quote marks around the title of it. Okay, I've got UChicago in italics, and that's both MLA and APA, right? Here's the publisher. The spacing here, the way the date is laid out, shows me that this is MLA style also, and also the fact that it's near the end of the citation. And then here is my URL. I would just put the whole thing if I don't leave the dots, but actually copy and paste the whole thing if you're in that situation. Here's the APA version of it. Gail, SF, the SF with the initials lets me know this is APA. Aha, I've got parentheses in a different order. That date is the second item and it's in parentheses. That's an APA feature. Notice we've got lower casing for the title. That's an APA feature. Again, we've got this in italics, and then University of Chicago Office of Communications, and then retrieved from the URL. I took this from a real student example, okay? Morgan, Kate, gender stereotypes, etc. This, again, I can tell is an MLA format based on a couple of the features that I see here. And this is your most basic element. Number one is your author. Number two is your title. Number three is the source that it came from, and you italicize that. Number four is the date. Number five is the URL. Here we go in APA. 1, author. 2, they do the date second. 3 is the title. 4 is the website it came from, and then 5 is retrieved from in the URL. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 list that I have for you up above, I'm trying to kind of show you a map of how that gets laid out on the page down below. Now let's go into multimedia sources. Let me space that down, one more space for us. Okay. Here's a list for you. Author, last name, and first name, and then you're going to label the role of the person if needed. Next thing is the title of the visual, and then label what it is. So when I say label, I'm meaning, is this person the artist, the director, the songwriter, the producer, the narrator? You know, like, tell me if it's not an author and it's not a written work, it's some other type of media, it's a video, it's a photograph. Maybe this person is the photographer. Put a label next to it and tell me what role they played, okay? Because sometimes with like movies, for example, there's a lot of people that participated in the making of a movie. You usually want to go for like the director if you can, or the writer or the producer, one of those people, but choose one. If the director is available, go with that one first. But again, put out beside it, direct Steven Spielberg, S, director, or something like that. Excuse me, the Spielberg, S would be if it was APA. Spielberg, Steven, director, you know, if you can. Title of the visual, label what it is. So you would put video out beside it if I'm looking at Jurassic Park or something. That was the big movie that Spielberg produced back when I was a kid. It's great. So you would put movie or film or video. Any of those words would work as long as you're just telling me that it's something different. The name of the source, okay. Publisher, volume, issue number, or whatever. That applies only if it's academic. In general, you're not going to need these for like YouTube videos or whatever, so don't worry about that. One thing that I do want to note is this part, the extra bigger source if needed, if it's a source within a source such as YouTube. So if there's a film that you pulled from YouTube, it's kind of like its own source, but then it was uploaded to YouTube and that's where you found it. You might potentially have an italicized source, right, that it came from, but then also a YouTube as well to tell me, okay? So that can kind of confuse some students a little bit. Day, month, year, and then the full URL. You know, always give me a date and then the URL. So here's an example, and I pulled this example from our, from what we did in class. We looked at 3 or 4 weeks back, Black Violin is the name of the artist, and this is an important one. We would not put violin, comma, black, right? If it is someone's stage name, the name of their group or something like that, or if we had like Jay-Z, we wouldn't go Z, comma, J, we just say Jay-Z, okay? So just so that you know, we flip-flop it only if it's like truly somebody's first and last name. If it's like their stage name or something like that, or if I was going to cite like Charlemagne the God, he's a famous radio host. I wouldn't do like the God, comma, Charlemagne. I would just say Charlemagne the God. Those are like, for example here, notice the part I highlighted is artist. I'm telling you that you're not looking teacher. You are not looking for something that's written by an author. You're looking for something else that was created by an artist. Okay. So that's what I mean when I say a label. Then you have the name of it. It's in quotes, and I've labeled it as a music video. So that's your hint to the teacher. Listen, teacher, when you go to this website, you're not looking for an article. You're looking for a music video when you get there. Okay. Stereotypes, YouTube. So see how I have 2 different things italicized here? And what I'm showing you, the name of the song is called Stereotypes. This is the name of the actual album that it came from. And notice there's a space there. They called their album name like Stereotypes with a space. So I did it the way that their album is done. And then I've got a second italicized item for YouTube because I didn't actually go out and buy the album. I found this song on YouTube. So here's the album, which is the source in italics. But hey, I also got it from YouTube. So comma, YouTube. Now here's the date. Okay. That kind of can throw people a little bit, but I want to share, I'll do another screen share in a second and show you the YouTube page so that you can kind of see a layout of like where I pulled that information. APA, I'm going to show you in just a second. I'm actually going to show you how to plug in this on APA style using the OWL at Purdue. So I've shown you how to do it manually yourself, but I also want to show you how to use the OWL at Purdue. So I'm going to stop this screen share. I'm going to go to YouTube now, if I can. Let me find, here's my tab. So here it is, Black Violin. I would click right here when I find it. They've got a commercial going for us, but this is the right one. Here's the artist and the name of the song. I think my screen is freezing up on me. Oh no, I've got a screen freeze. Name of the artist and the song. And then further down, let me see if it'll let me, may not. I may have to go to a different website for a minute here. I would find the date underneath it and also the album information. And then YouTube is the main website where it came from, which is why that's part of my citation as well. So let me see. It's freezing up. I may have to do a manual for you guys while I wait for that to unthaw. I'm going to stop the share and go back to my Microsoft Word document. Let me just show you guys manually what we're looking at for APA. So we would still go Black Violin, not with a with an underline. So I don't want this underlined, just regular. And remember, we do not go violin, comma, B, right? Because that's not a true first and last name. If you try to plug this into a citation engine, it's going to flip-flop it because it doesn't know the difference. But you know the difference. This is their stage name, their screen name, okay? So we would go Black Violin. I'm going to label this as author last, comma, first. So we're still going author last, comma, first. You also want to label it for me and tell me that this person was an artist, okay? And you actually, let me remove this. Okay. Now let's go to date. So I don't know, 2015, comma, March 4th or something, whatever the date was. Okay. So you know that that's the date. 3, title of the song. And then out beside it, I'm going to put a brackets that says song, just because it is a song or whatever it is, right? So this word song, like whatever it is, you could replace this, of course, right? A video or something like that, okay? Or let's say music video. So I'm actually looking at a music video. If I just had the audio only, I would put music video or just video out here, right? Like whatever it is I'm pulling it from. Now we're going to look at the source. That's going to be in italics, okay? And ideally, like in this case, it comes from an album. In some cases, if it was uploaded directly to YouTube and YouTube was the first location, then YouTube is all you need. And then I'm going to make a note. So source within a source if needed. Looks like I am freezing up again. So again, if you have an album or something and then afterwards you need to put YouTube too, this is how you would do it. In some cases, YouTube by itself might just be enough, right? If it's someone, a personal person, that doesn't sound right, but you know, just a bystander on the street and they filmed something. Maybe they filmed a protest that was going on. They filmed it and they just uploaded it straight from their phone. There's not like an extra publisher involved. They just uploaded it to YouTube, right? So YouTube is the only source you'd need. That's what I'm trying to explain there. And then our retrieved from URL, okay? So I'm going to take the italics off of that. That's what we're looking for, okay? So now let me see if my internet is working again. And if it is, I will try. Okay, this is working. So this is showing me from, so here's YouTube video actually. So this is showing me basically what we've got. And this is from the Purdue OWL. Okay, so let me scroll up and show you. I am at the Purdue OWL right now. Okay, so they have just gone a very simple version here. Person or group who uploaded the video. So in this case, Black Violin. What's the date? What's the title of it? And then in brackets, we're going to put a video to tell your teacher this is a video. Who's the website host? So that's where I would say YouTube. Okay. And then I would put the URL. So see what they've done here. Tasty is who did this one. And then here's the date. Here's the title of it. Hint, hint, teacher, it's a video. YouTube is kind of where it came from, and then the URL, okay? Notice they didn't do what I did as far as like labeling someone as an artist necessarily. They didn't label Tasty as an artist. So again, older version versus newer version. Up until last year, they wanted us to label a little bit more. They're getting lighter on the citations now, which I think is great for students. So slight variations there, but the concepts, if you notice, are still the same. What I'm going to do, or what I want to show you how to do, is they have a way to cite it. If you go to Basic APA, if you just type in OWL Purdue APA style, they've got a way to cite your source automatically in APA. What I tell students is I always want to give you a warning, and they have a notice here about using citation machines responsibly. I think I could zoom in on that. You may not be able to read my writing here, but using citations machines responsibly. I'm going to pause this so it doesn't distract us. What they're warning you about is using the software is not always perfect. It's great to get you started, but you still need to go back and double check. So here I have Black Violin. I don't know. Yes, it will let me scroll now. So Black Violin stereotypes. It was uploaded by Black Violin. They're the artists. Here's the date where they published it. Here's the album that it came from. And look, goodness, for some reason I keep wanting to freeze up again on YouTube. Here's YouTube. So I pulled the information that I showed you previously from right here. And most YouTube videos, which is where I assume a lot of you are going to be pulling material from, this is where you'd find it, right? And then just always make sure you give credit to YouTube, okay? So going back, what I could do is I could copy this URL, the link to the exact page that I want to go to, take it back up here to the OWL at Purdue where it says cite your source automatically, and let's see what we come up with, okay? Ooh, what is that? There we go. Now, we've got it in there. Let's cite it, and let's see what they show us, okay? Searching for your source, create a manual citation. Okay, let's see how well this works. Oops, something went wrong, it said. They're still telling us to check for the same things. Let's see, create a manual citation. Well, at any rate, this is why it's good to learn on your own kind of how you want to do it. Let me see if I can get... let's try online video film. Let's reset this. It's an online video and see if we can cite it now. See, the computer didn't understand that, right? So it's tough, and we'll see if it works. It may not. It's still saying no. Okay. Let me try again. And this is, again, why it's good to know how to do it in case you run into trouble with the manual methods. Okay. Let me go back, and I'm going to go to MLA. So I'm in APA right over here. I'm going to go to Research and Citation Sources, back to the main menu. And from there, it might be knocking me offline. That might be why I'm having such a hard time here. From there, I'm going to try to do it in MLA and see if it'll generate the site for me, the citation in MLA for me, okay? So now, MLA or APA format, there it goes. Let's see if we can get it going here. Another freeze. Uh-oh. My mouse is stuck now. Let's see if I can get that to escape. Hold on, guys. Frozen mouse. See, your teacher struggles with some of the same things that you do as well. Let's try it now. Let's see if we can get it one more time in MLA or APA format. And let's see if we can get it to cite. May not. At any rate, okay, so still not getting a success here. What I want to show you guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop that screen share, is if you learn the principles, then no matter what, you're in good shape to be able to cite your work in the event that you're having trouble with a citation engine. I've got nothing against using citation engines. I think they're great, but you just need to still always kind of know what you're doing, okay? So again, to go over this, I add the word artist here. I'm using older style, okay? They only wanted just, they've lightened up the requirements as of a year ago. So they only just wanted like the little brackets out beside of it, or out next to it. Source and source within a source if needed. So we didn't really have that in some cases, but I'm going to show you a layout, and then we'll close up the video. So Black Violin is the artist, right? We don't need the underline. I'm not sure why it's still underlining over here. We're not going to do last name and first name because they are just, you know, I wouldn't go violin, comma B. And what I was hoping to show you is that sometimes when you do use an engine, if it does work, it will try to flip flop it. It'll try to say violin, comma B because it thinks that's a person's first and last name. So that's something to especially check for. Now we would go, it was 2015. I can't remember if it was March 4th or not, but you guys know the concept here. We'll say March 15 or whatever. Then we want stereotypes. And then out beside it, we're going to label it as a music video. And then we're going to say, if you pull the name of the album, that's great. Stereotypes in italics. If you didn't really see that, you could go straight to YouTube. So remember my caution there. Source within a source if needed. If you've got the album plus YouTube, great. In some cases, it might just be YouTube, just straight YouTube. That's going to get your teacher to the website, which is the point of all of this. Okay, so that's good enough. Retrieved from ... Okay. So here we are again. A couple of variations that I showed you there. I took, you know, you can include the word artist there if you want. If you wanted to put artist right here, they've lightened up the requirements, so you're okay if you don't. But you still need to put that brackets telling me what it is. It's something different, okay, is what you're telling me with that brackets, okay? So I'm going to stop that share. Hope this has been helpful. As always, email me with questions. If you run into a website that you're having a hard time citing, don't wait till the night that it's due, but let me know, okay? And I'd be happy to help you. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.